like, oh yeah, that's that. That's Avatar, The Last Airbender, the board game.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella from Meeple University. Today we are excited to do a review of Tribes of the Wind. This is one of the Essen releases and I picked it up at Essen, and I believe this was sold out, and this was from La Boîte de Jeu.
Boîte de Jeu.
Thank you very much.
Box of the day. No,
So the art is by
box of something.
Vincent Dutrait. You should stop there. Vincent Dutrait. And the game itself, we'll show you how it goes. So Tarrant's going to give you the overview, and we're going to give you our review, what we think of it.
So there's really two elements to this game. There's how does the card play work, because it's a game that your actions are driven by cards, and it's what are you trying to achieve on your personal player board. So each player will have a board like this, trying to score points from doing the things that the cards let them do. So each turn, or most turns, you're going to play one card from your hand, and you will resolve one or both effects one or the other effect on the card based on some sort of criteria. And that criteria can be cards in your hand, it can be cards in your neighbour's hands, or collectively between you and your neighbours. So this card, for example, says 2 water or 3 water, and it would give me one of these effects. If you look at my hand, including the card I just played, I have 2 water cards. So I would resolve the 2 water effect and gain 4 water resources. I didn't plan these cards I drew very well, because they're all cards like that. Do you have any that's
Yes,
better?
I do.
Okay.
So there's this one, for example. So this card, this is a water element card, which is shown in the back. The left is always the requirement, the right hand side is the effect. So there's this one, just one. So have no of this type of card, which is the wind or yellow card.
Yep.
And then you can do either get water resources or do a movement on your board.
Yes.
Some movements, after 5.
Yep. This type of card here, this one has minus leaf, neighbour, neighbours. So if you have fewer plant cards than one of your neighbours, you get the top effect. If you have fewer than both of your neighbours, you get the second effect. There's one here which will give you want your neighbours to have fire. If they have at least 1 fire, then you get to score that. And there are some others. I think there's one that I mentioned where, here's another example. You count up all the fire cards from you and your neighbours. If there's a total of 4 or 7, you get the top or bottom effect.
Or if you have one of everything, then you get this effect on the right hand side.
So that's the core part of the game. Every time you play a card, you will discard it, and then you will choose one of the 5 cards from the display and add that back into your hand, ready for the next player. We mentioned neighbours. If you're playing at 2 players, you'll use the what's down there as a pseudo neighbour. That's the core of what's going on with these cards.
With your actions?
Yep. Now, what are you actually doing on your player board? You're trying to. We're up in the winds, and the whole world is polluted with all of these red pollution things here, and we're trying to rebuild our little society here. And so there's really 4 actions that you can do. You can get water. You can spend water to get a forest tile and place it down somewhere orthogonal to where you've been.
All these with this card action.
Yep.
Mainly.
And all the colours are kind of, the red ones tend to do red things and so on. There's removing pollution. So there'll be actions that just let you take pollution off. And there'll be actions that let you move your wind riders around the board. So you'll be moving them like so. And then as an action, instead of playing a card, you can flip over one of these tiles and turn it into a village. So this one needs 2. I would return them to home. I would flip this over. There's a negative effect of some pollution being generated by doing that. Then I would place one of these and get one of these cards. And this is where a major amount of your points are going to come from, because these all have objectives on it for what you do on, you actually meant to start with one, but for what you do on your board. So this one, I'd be trying to cover both of the soccer stadiums, and if I did that by the end of the game, I would get 8 points. There's a whole lot of different things like that. There's some other objectives that'll let you do some engine building, some little cards here that give you engine building.
That's asymmetric for each player or player board.
There are some temples you can place for points and bonuses, and they kind of let you refresh your hand, which is nice when you place one. But really, it's all about doing that. Once somebody has placed all 5 tree houses out, not tree villages.
Villages.
I just call them tree houses.
It looks like tree
that's what they
houses.
look like.
Very cute.
Once someone's placed all 5 out on the board, that triggers the end. You'll count up all of your objectives. You get points for various fixed things, like each of the villages is worth 3 points, temples are worth points, placing these, removing pollution, and whoever has the most points wins.
It's really quite a simple game. There's a few icons in there. If you're used to icons, once you get to know them, then that's okay. It's almost like kind of like entry level, as long as they know how to read icons, I guess.
Yeah.
And with, there are just a few other things as well in the games. It sounds very simple, but then, you gotta have the different objectives you're trying to get. We're trying to get so many objectives, maybe like some of my games, and I felt like satisfying and unsatisfying at the same time. It's satisfying to actually play, and then I managed to remember to not pick up the yellow win card and then be able to play this card. But there's what I love about this temple mechanics is I'm like, oh stuff, I have the cards that I don't need. So you discard 3 cards to place 1 temple. Now, this temple as well, you get encouraged to do it once you do it, because you get 0 points. Like, there are other points as well that comes from the village card, but once you put 1, there's no point. 2, no. 3, you get a little bit of point, and then 4 temples, you get the most points. Like between 3 and 7 points, that's quite a lot from 3 to 4 temples. What do you think, Tarrant?
I think it's a really neat little game, and I think what is the overwhelming thing I had coming out of it was a very individual game, as a lot of games are these days. You have your own player board, your own puzzle. This part was almost fully multiplayer solitaire. And in reality, even playing my cards was very, very solitary, because I'm not doing anything based on what you're doing. But it's still got the interaction of having to look at your neighbour's cards. So it's like, it's the best of both worlds. It's the best of that gentle, solitary sort of game that's very big.
Yet interactive.
But forces you to be interactive. So I think it's, if that was what they set out to do, it was extremely clever in that way.
Oh, yes.
And for a light hand management sort of game, I did really enjoy looking at my cards and going, all right, I know I want to play that one first and that one, and this one I can do, but it gets weaker if you play a fire next, or if you discard all your fires with a temple, so I'd better get it out earlier.
Yes.
And it was, I say gentle again, but it was gentle hand management, but really quite fun.
I do really, really enjoy this part where you combo off other players' back of card, and that's just to your left and right. So if you play up to 5 players, doesn't mean that you have to look all of them. That's a bit overwhelming. So you only look at the left and right. As Tarrant said, if you play 2 players and you look at the cards displayed as, what's the word? Pseudo player?
Pseudo player.
There you go. So, and this is, as I say, it's really satisfying when you be able to do that. But then at the end, there are times it's unsatisfying when somebody else is completing the fifth village and I wasn't able to complete my goal. So look at that goals, right? This is things like getting the forest tile, this same color of forest tile in a column, or get certain icons in the forest tile. And what's the interesting thing as well is the Wind Rider. So you need those to complete. And there's some sort of like movement puzzle as well on your player board. You can only move it from your base to here, count as 1. You've seen cards like this that able to let you move up to 5. And moving 5 is like from here to here 1, from here to here 1, until you build something like this. So when you not build it, then you can't use it. Let's say you build something like this. You can only place these tiles or orthogonally adjacent to each other, to the next one that you've already have. Things like that. That's like a wind portal, I think it's called. So this is considered adjacent to your base. So you can just go there in 1, and that's how you reach the other tiles. Because you might be wondering, that would be a little bit far to reach, but you built this like that. Yeah. There are the icons as well. So there's a lot of icons, and I feel like there's another thing that you'd like to. Each player is slightly asymmetric. You need to build these forest village tiles in a certain row, a certain order. And there's a second objective here, and you get this bonus. You can get up to 2 bonuses per game, and this is the permanent ability that could, combo pretty well.
Yeah, and it's things like, you get extra movement when you take a movement, or once per turn you can spend 2 water to catapult a Wind Rider. So various, this one combos with yellow cards, so various things that can specialise your game in different ways.
Indeed.
Yeah, I liked the puzzle here, and I liked there's only 4 different actions, but there's enough different things to do and enough different ways to score objectives to really chase after it. And what it took me a game to learn as well was how much of a race it was.
Yes.
Because some of these are much quicker to complete. They give you lesser bonuses, and some of them create pollution. And some of them are quicker to complete, and they give you lesser bonuses, but they're often just as valuable for these. Not for all of them, but for many of them. So it does. If someone's playing a really fast game, you've got to keep that in mind to score as many of your objectives as you can get, because a major part of your points are going to come from them. Yeah.
Well, that's what Tarrant just did. That's what happened, unfortunately, in our games. So we, I just wish, like, this is just my, it's not even a complaint. This is not my thing. So this is like really good. I think without this probably won't work as well. So this is definitely necessary, but this is quite a light plastic one, and I always knocked it over. You knocked it over like multiple times. This is easy to do, I think. Now I can't bring it back anyway.
Yeah, when you're reaching around.
Yeah, you just have to be careful, I guess.
Wearing a jumper, that sort of thing. It's.
I'm sorry, that's my
jumper.
jumper.
A threat, but.
Well, you didn't wear a jumper. You still knocked it over.
True.
I want to put attention to the theme a little bit. I don't think the theme is very rich. So it is tribes of the wind. You are the wind tribe. You're building villages on the tree, up on the tree, temples, pollutions. But I watched Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I looked at that. Very beautiful artwork, by the way, by Vincent Dutrait. I looked at that flying thing that looks like on the box. You want to probably bring it over so people can see it.
Yes, I've just been looking off.
I know. I was like, bring it over.
Long day.
This thing, this thing here, the flying thing, feels like that, and the Last Airbender. And I'll show you one particular image here that makes me think of that as well. Come on, this is Sokka. This is the guy that is in one of the main characters in The Last Airbender.
It does look very Avatar-y.
Right, like look at the hair. Like, I'm gonna put it here. Look at the hair, and then look at the flying apparatus. This is like oh no, that's definitely that. I think his name is Sokka. It's been a while since I watched that series. Did you watch it? Do you watch it? Have you watched it, Avatar: The Last Airbender? And do you think this reminds you a little bit of Avatar: The Last Airbender, not Avatar the movie? There is going to have a sequel soon, which I'm very excited, but that's a different story. But yeah, that's like, I feel like in Avatar there's no pollution. There's like a different type. There's ruins. There's not very building villages, probably building communities. I don't know, and that's like the elements of it. I don't know why this is the wind tribe, but why there are other elements as well. Maybe because of that as well. There's water, there's fire, there's earth. Oh, this is like, what is it? Like tree?
Plant, I think.
Plants, yeah. Earth, and there's the wind, right? How many is it? There are 4, right?
There's 4.
Yeah, there you go. So that reminds me a lot of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Tarrant has not watched it yet. Have you
Watched
watched
like 7 episodes, I think.
Yeah. And then it's like, oh yeah, that's that. That's Avatar: The Last Airbender, the board game.
Yes.
Well, not quite.
This is the cabbage element.
The cabbage. Still my cabbage. So you do know about the cabbage.
Yeah. No, I think.
Anyways, like,
I say this is a nice, and it's
nice engine building.
Yeah.
Solo puzzle yet interactive at the same time.
And I think it is quite. It's a bit new, isn't it? It's not. I can't think of a game quite like this. The way it uses the neighbor interaction for hand management. So I think it's really clever that way. Pretty innovative.
This was in our. If you watch our video of our most anticipated SN release video, and this is one of the one of the games that we are anticipating. And I mean, look at this, like very beautiful art. Everything's by Vincent Dutrait. This is good. It might be a little bit even over my expectation. I try not to have too high of expectation. And we got the game, and yes, I like it, and I don't regret getting it and paying extra baggage to bring this game or some games home. So,
very good.
Love it. Highly recommend it. Who knows, might be my top 10 games of 2022. It's that much I like it.
Who knows? We shall see.
Do you? We'll see. So we'll have that video maybe January, maybe December. We'll see. Well, that's it. That's Trust for the Win. Did you pick it up at Essen? Did you play it? Did you demo it? Highly recommend it if you like those mechanics. They are still different, as Tarrant said, puzzle, interaction, objective fulfilling. Yeah. Go play it. Go buy it. And that's it. If you find this useful, if you want us to make more of these type of videos, please write in the comment section. That will be really helpful, and I love reading your comments. Hit the like button. You can also subscribe if you like, and hit the meeple and in the corner somewhere, and hit the bell icon so you get notification. I have Instagram account as well, so find me there as well, and hopefully we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.